in desalination, and their commitment is growing on an ongoing basis because they've already got 2 investments here in South Africa and they want to expand more. When we were in Saudi Arabia talking to a number of businesses, we spoke, of course, largely about energy and renewable energy for the Northern Cape, but also for other provinces. We got a very good sense and a real commitment of up to $15 billion, which will be sourced from Saudi Arabia to be invested here in South Africa. And today, being here and being in the backdrop of this huge tower, which is the tallest building right now in Northern Cape, and will be the tallest building in South Africa except for the Eskom smokestack towers, just means that we are really taking our infrastructure play very seriously, our energy investment very seriously, and we are attracting more and more investors. What I've also found pleasing with Aqua Power is that they've really established a very good relationship between themselves and the government at both national, provincial, and at local level. What I also appreciate about this investment is that it's got a number of role players. On the finance side, we've got our own DFIs, like the IDCs involved and others participating in this, and we've got black empowerment companies also involved, women-led companies also involved, and more importantly, the community-based organizations that are part of this project. And the wonderful benefits, of course, is the employment that is being generated as this structure of facilities being built. And even when it's finished, when we come to open it in 2024, where it will generate 100 megawatts of energy, almost base load energy, which will be available on a 17-hour basis, according to their contracts with Eskom. They are also involved in projects in the community. And here I want to also appreciate the extent to which the Premier and the provincial government has gone in creating a very conducive environment and climate for investors such as these from offshore to come and invest here. We're seeing the Northern Cape booming, both on the mining side as well as on the energy side and the agriculture side. There's a great deal of promise for our province here, and of course it will cascade to the national level as well. So I'm very confident as I see us attracting investors. Of course, we still have to deal with many problems. Unemployment is still at a very high level, but the measures and the steps that we are taking are such that we will be able to get to grips with the process of reducing unemployment and addressing poverty and making sure that we spread infrastructure build in our country. So for all of us, this is a great day because we no longer just tending the sword. We are actually seeing real infrastructure built of an energy type, getting off the ground, getting ready. And of course, for me, the other greater benefit is to see black people, our own people, who are engineers, who are experienced, who are building these things, cooperating, of course, with our partners. And so the skills transfer is a very powerful one. I appreciate Aqua Power as well, because they are also giving out bursaries for young people to come and be trained. And one of the things I whispered to the Premier is that we must get Solplaatje University here to start offering courses, curricular courses, that will fit with what we are doing on a renewable energy drive and development. And the last thing I will mention that Aqua Power is also involved in hydrogen energy. Now, Northern Cape is going to be the home, the South African home and base of hydrogen energy, which we are going to export in leaps and bounds. So the future for the Northern Cape and for our country when it comes to these new sectors that we are embracing and have been talking about is great. Much as we are still going through challenges through the load shedding with Eskom, but if we look through the tunnel, we see the light, and we are going to resolve our energy problems, particularly as we work with our partners from Aqua Power, who will make a great contribution. The issue of the electoral bill, we will deal with another time. We're dealing here with the Northern Cape.
Mr. President, Govind from Newsroom Africa. Of course, this project's due to come online in 2024. Between now and then, while we're seeing these frequent trips at Eskom's power stations, do you think there is room to bring more IPPs in to bridge that gap? And the main question about the IPPs is, the criticism is that most of them are selling at about 2 Rand a kilowatt to Eskom, while Eskom sells at about 1 Rand 50 or around that point to suppliers. So there is a shortfall and the government incurs that cost. What do you think about that?
All IPPs around the world, I mean renewable energy, started off at a very high tariff all over the world. And with technology getting better and with companies like Aqua Power really developing new technologies, new ways of doing things, the cost is coming down. And the last round that Minister Mantashe announced was really at a lower, much lower level. So of course the blended sort of cumulative one is still going to be somewhere in the middle, but we are going to see these prices coming down. And of course, I mean, IPPs, and this type of IPP, by the way, this one, subscribes to baseload. Because through the technology they use, which is slightly different from the other ones that is used, is going to mean that the availability of power, the availability factor is going to be at a higher level, 80%. And that we will appreciate because they'll be able to pump in energy into the grid on an ongoing basis. So as we are facing these challenges at Eskom, as we resolve them, we will find that your IPP contribution with new technologies is going to be a lot better as we move forward.
SABC.
Mr. President, children are being killed and raped in this country, and the government has been relatively quiet about this. Is there any intervention from the government side to stop this?
Well, I've been very concerned, and as all of us in government have been extremely concerned and really worried about the children of our country that are being slaughtered. And the police, the South African Police Service, is working on this matter. Minister Begicele spoke about it yesterday. So the program that we are going to be developing going forward, as we have our gender-based violence and femicide conference or summit, is also going to address the challenges that children are facing. Already there's a big move for us to bring the whole issue of children care and children into the President's office, and we're looking at that and how we can give effect to that. And I'm glad that in the provinces, a number of provinces have already brought the issues of children into the Premier's office. So we will also then be bringing the challenge that our children are facing into the President's office so that we can have more effective programs like we are doing now with gender-based violence, where we are making some progress as we deal with this pandemic.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay,
thank you, guys.
guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.